Section 16 of English Synonyms and Antonyms. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mario Pineda. English Synonyms and Antonyms by James Champlin Fernald. Carry to change. Carry. Synonyms: bear, bring, convey, lift, move, remove, sustain, take, transmit, transport. A person might bear a load either when in motion or at rest. He carries it only when in motion. The stooping Atlas bears the world on his shoulders. Swiftly moving time carries the hourglass and scythe. A person may be said either to bear or to carry a scar, since it is upon him whether in motion or at rest. If an object is to be moved from the place we occupy, we say carry. If to the place we occupy, we say bring. A messenger carries a letter to a correspondent and brings an answer. Take is often used in this sense in place of carry, as take that letter to the office. Carry often signifies to transport by personal strength, without reference to the direction, as that is more than he can carry. Yet, even so, it would not be admissible to say carry it to me, or carry it here. In such case we must say bring. To lift is simply to raise from the ground, though but for an instant, with no reference to holding or moving. One may be able to lift what he could not carry. The figurative use of carry are very numerous, as to carry an election, carry the country, carry in the sense of capture, a fort, carry an audience, carry a stock of goods, etc. Compare, convey, keep, support. Antonyms: drop, fall under, give up, let go, shake off, throw down, throw off. Prepositions: to carry coals to Newcastle, carry nothing from or out of this house. He carried these qualities into all he did. Carry across the street, over the bridge, through the woods, around or round the corner, beyond the river. The cable was carried under the sea. Catastrophe. Synonyms: calamity, cataclysm, denouement, disaster, mischance, misfortune, mishap, sequel. A cataclysm or catastrophe is some great convulsion or momentous event that may or may not be a cause of misery to man. In calamity or disaster, the thought of human suffering is always present. It has been held by many geologists that numerous catastrophes or cataclysms antedated the existence of man. In literature, the final event of a drama is the catastrophe or denouement. Misfortune ordinarily suggests less of a suddenness and violence than calamity or disaster, and is especially applied to that which is lingering or enduring in its effects. In history, the end of every great war or the fall of a nation is a catastrophe, though it might not be a calamity. Yet such an event, if not a calamity to the race, will always involve much individual disaster and misfortune. Pestilence is a calamity. A defeat in battle, a shipwreck, or a failure in business is a disaster. Sickness or loss of property is a misfortune. Failure to meet a friend is a mischance. The breaking of a teacup is a mishap. Antonyms: benefit, blessing, boon, comfort, favor, help, pleasure, privilege, prosperity, success. Preposition: the catastrophe of a play, of a siege, rarely, to a person, etc. Catch. Synonyms: apprehend, capture, clasp, clutch, comprehend, discover, ensnare, entrap, grasp, grip, gripe, lay hold of, on or upon, overtake, secure, seize, snatch, take, take hold of. To catch is to come up with or take possession of something departing, fugitive, or elusive. We catch a runaway horse, a flying ball, a mouse in a trap. We clutch with a swift, tenacious movement of the fingers. We grasp with a firm but moderate closure of the whole hand. We grip or gripe with the strongest muscular closure of the whole hand possible to exert. We clasp in the arms. We snatch with a quick, sudden, and usually a surprising motion. In the figurative sense, catch is used of any act that brings a person or thing into our power or possession, as to catch a criminal in the act, to catch an idea in the sense of apprehend or comprehend. Compare, arrest. Antonyms: fail off, fall short of, give up, let go, lose, miss, release, restore, throw aside, throw away. Prepositions: to catch at a straw, to catch a fugitive by the collar, to catch a ball with the left hand. He caught the disease from the patient. The thief was caught in the act, the bird in the snare. Cause. Synonyms: actor, agent, antecedent, author, causality, causation, condition, creator, designer, former, fountain, motive, occasion, origin, originator, power, precedent, reason, source, spring. The efficient cause, that which makes anything to be or be done, is the common meaning of the word, as in the saying, "There is no effect without a cause." Every man instinctively recognizes himself acting through will as the cause of his own actions. The Creator is the great first cause of all things. A condition is something that necessarily precedes a result, but does not produce it. An antecedent simply precedes a result, with or without any agency in producing it, as Monday is the invariable antecedent of Tuesday, but not the cause of it. The direct antonym of cause is effect, while that of antecedent is consequent. An occasion is some event which brings a cause into action at a particular moment. Gravitation and heat are the causes of an avalanche. The steep incline of the mountainside is a necessary condition, and the shout of the traveler may be the occasion of its fall. Causality is the doctrine or principle of causes. Causation the action or working of causes. Compare, design, reason. Antonyms: consequence, creation, development, effect, end, event, fruit, issue, outcome, outgrowth, product, result. Prepositions: the cause of the disaster, cause for interference. Cease. Synonyms: abstain, bring to an end, come to an end, conclude, desist, discontinue, end, finish, give over, intermit, leave off, pause, quit, refrain, stop, terminate. Strains of music might gradually or suddenly cease. A man quits work on the instant. He may discontinue a practice gradually. He quits suddenly and completely. He stops short in what he may or may not resume. He pauses in what he will probably resume. What intermits or is intermitted returns again, as a fever that intermits. Compare abandon, die, end, rest. Antonyms: begin, commence, enter upon, inaugurate, initiate, institute, originate, set about, set going, set in operation, set on foot, start. Preposition: cease, from anger. Celebrate. Synonyms: commemorate, keep, observe, solemnize. To celebrate any event or occasion is to make some demonstration of respect or rejoicing because of or in memory of it, or to perform such public rites or ceremonies as it properly demands. We celebrate the birth, commemorate the death of one beloved or honored. We celebrate the national anniversary with music and song, with firing of guns and ringing of bells. We commemorate by any solemn and thoughtful service, or by a monument or other enduring memorial. We keep the Sabbath, solemnize a marriage, observe an anniversary. We celebrate or observe the Lord's Supper, in which believers commemorate the suffering and death of Christ. Antonyms: contemn, despise, dishonor, disregard, forget, ignore, neglect, overlook, profane, violate. Prepositions: we celebrate the day with appropriate ceremonies. The victory was celebrated by the people with rejoicing. Center. Synonyms: middle, midst. We speak of the center of a circle, the middle of a room, the middle of the street, the midst of a forest. The center is equally distant from every point of the circumference of a circle, or from the opposite boundaries on each axis of a parallelogram, etc. The middle is more general and less definite. The center is a point. The middle might be a line or a space. We say at the center, in the middle. Midst commonly implies a group or multitude of surrounding objects. Compare synonyms for amid. Antonyms: bound, boundary, circumference, perimeter, rim. Chagrin. Synonyms: confusion, disappointment, discomposure, dismay, humiliation, mortification, shame, vexation. Chagrin unites disappointment with some degree of humiliation. A rainy day may bring disappointment. Needless failure in some enterprise brings chagrin. Shame involves the consciousness of fault, guilt, or impropriety. Chagrin of failure or judgment or harm to reputation. A consciousness that one has displayed his own ignorance will cause him mortification, however worthy his intent. If there was a design to deceive, the exposure will cover him with shame. Antonyms: delight, exultation, glory, rejoicing, triumph. Prepositions: he felt deep chagrin at, because of, on account of failure. Change, verb. Synonyms: alter, commute, convert, diversify, exchange, metamorphose, modify, qualify, shift, substitute, transfigure, transform, transmute, turn, vary, veer. To change is distinctively to make a thing other than it has been, in some respect at least. To exchange, to put or take something else in its place. To alter is ordinarily to change partially, to make different in one or more particulars. To exchange is often to transfer ownership, as to exchange city for country property. Change is often used in the sense of exchange, as to change horses. To transmute is to change the qualities while the substance remains the same, as to transmute the baser metals into gold. To transform is to change form or appearance, with or without deeper and more essential change. It is less absolute than transmute, though sometimes used for that word, and is often used in a spiritual sense as transmute could not be. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Transfigure is, as in its scriptural use, to change in an exalted and glorious spiritual way. Jesus was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. Matthew 17:1-2. To metamorphose is to make some remarkable change, ordinarily in external qualities, but often in structure, use, or chemical constitution, as of a caterpillar into a butterfly, of the stamens of a plant into petals, or of the crystalline structure of rocks, hence called metamorphic rocks, as when limestone is metamorphosed into a marble. To vary is to change from time to time, often capriciously. To commute is to put something easier, lighter, milder, or in some way more favorable in place of that which is commuted, as to commute capital punishment to imprisonment for life. To commute daily fares on a railway to monthly payment. To convert, Latin con, with, and verto, turn, is to primarily turn about, and signifies to change in form, character, use, etc., through a wide range of relations. Iron is converted into steel, joy into grief, a sinner into a saint. To turn is a popular word for change in any sense short of the meaning of exchange, being often equivalent to alter, convert, transform, transmute, etc. We modify or qualify a statement which might seem too strong. We modify it by some limitation, qualify it by some addition. Antonyms: abide, bide, continue, endure, hold, keep, persist, remain, retain, stay. Prepositions: to change a home toilet for a street dress, to change from a caterpillar to or into a butterfly, to change clothes with a beggar. Change, noun. Synonyms: alteration, conversion, diversity, innovation, mutation, novelty, regeneration, renewal, renewing, revolution, transformation, transition, transmutation, variation, variety, vicissitude. A change is a passing from one state or form to another, any act or process by which a thing becomes unlike what it was before, or the unlikeness so produced. We say a change was taking place, or the change that had taken place was manifest. Mutation is a more formal word for change, often suggesting repeated or continual change, as the mutation of fortune. Novelty is a change to what is new, or the newness of that of which a change is made, as he was perpetually desirous of novelty. Revolution is specifically and most commonly a change of government. Variation is a partial change in form, qualities, etc., but especially in position or action, as the variation of the magnetic needle or of the pulse. Variety is a succession of changes or an intermixture of different things, and is always thought of as agreeable. Vicissitude is a sharp, sudden, or violent change, always thought of as surprising and often as disturbing or distressing, as the vicissitudes of politics. Transition is change by passing from one place or state to another, especially in a natural, regular, or orderly way, as the transition from spring to summer, or from youth to manhood. An innovation is a change that breaks in upon an established order or custom, as an innovation in religion or politics. For the distinctions between the other words, compare the synonyms for change, verb. In the religious sense, regeneration is the vital renewing of the soul by the power of the divine spirit. Conversion is the conscious and manifest change from evil to good, or from a lower to a higher spiritual state, as in Luke 22:32. When thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. In popular use, conversion is the most common word to express the idea of regeneration. Antonyms: constancy, continuance, firmness, fixedness, fixity, identity, invariability, permanence, persistence, steadiness, unchangeableness, uniformity. Prepositions: we have made a change for the better, the change from winter to spring, the change of a liquid to or into a gas, a change in quality, a change by absorption or oxidation. End of section 16. Section 17 of English Synonyms and Antonyms. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mario Pineda. English Synonyms and Antonyms by James Champlin Fernald. Character to clear. Character. Synonyms: constitution, disposition, genius, nature, personality, record, reputation, spirit, temper, temperament. Character is what one is. Reputation, what he is thought to be. His record is the total of his known action or inaction. As a rule, a man's record will substantially express his character. His reputation might be higher or lower than his character or record will justify. Repute is a somewhat formal word with the same general sense as reputation. One's nature includes all his original endowments or propensities. Character includes both natural and acquired traits. We speak of one's physical constitution as strong or weak, etc., and figuratively always with the adjective of his mental or moral constitution. Compare characteristic. Prepositions: the witness has a character for veracity. His character is above suspicion. The character of the applicant. Characteristic. Synonyms: attribute, character, distinction, feature, indication, mark, peculiarity, property, quality, sign, singularity, trace, trait. A characteristic belongs to the nature or character of the person, thing, or class and serves to identify an object, as a copper-colored skin, high cheekbones, and straight black hair are characteristics of the American Indian. A sign is manifest to an observer. A mark or a characteristic may be more difficult to discover. An insensible person may show signs of life, while sometimes only close examination will disclose marks of violence. Pallor is ordinarily a mark of fear, but in some brave natures it is simply a characteristic of intense earnestness. Mark is sometimes used in a good, but often in a bad sense. We speak of the characteristic of a gentleman, the mark of a villain. Compare attribute. Character. Charming. Synonyms: bewitching, captivating, delightful, enchanting, enrapturing, entrancing, fascinating, winning. That is charming or bewitching which is adapted to win others as by a magic spell. Enchanting, enrapturing, entrancing represents the influence as to not only supernatural, but irresistible and delightful. That which is fascinating may win without delighting, drawing by some unseen power as a serpent its prey. We can speak of horrible fascination. Charming applies only to what is external to oneself. Delightful may apply to personal experiences or emotions as well. We speak of a charming manner, a charming dress, but of delightful anticipations. Compare amiable, beautiful. Chasten. Synonyms: afflict, castigate, chastise, correct, discipline, humble, punish, purify, refine, soften, subdue, try. Castigate and chastise refer strictly to corporal punishment, though both are somewhat archaic. Correct and punish are often used as euphemisms in preference to either. Punish is distinctly retributive in sense. Chastise, partly retributive and partly corrective. Chasten, wholly corrective. Chasten is used exclusively in the spiritual sense and chiefly of the visitation of God. Prepositions: we are chastened of the Lord. 1 Corinthians 11:32. They chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit. Hebrews 12:10. Chasten in thy hot displeasure. Psalms 4:7. Chastened with pain, by trials and sorrows. Cherish. Synonyms: cheer, cling to, comfort, encourage, entertain, foster, harbor, hold dear, nourish, nurse, nurture, protect, shelter, treasure, value. To cherish is both to hold dear and to treat as dear. Mere unexpressed esteem will not be cherishing. In the marriage vow to love, honor, and cherish, the word cherish implies all that each can do by love and tenderness for the welfare and happiness of the other, as by support, protection, care in sickness, comfort in sorrow, sympathy, and help of every kind. To nurse is to tend the helpless or feeble, as infants or the sick or wounded. To nourish is strictly to sustain and build up by food. To nurture includes careful mental and spiritual training, with something of love and tenderness. To foster is simply to maintain and care for, to bring up. A foster child will be nourished, but may not be as tenderly nurtured or as lovingly cherished as if one's own. In the figurative sense, the opinion one cherishes he holds, not with mere cold conviction, but with loving devotion. Antonyms. See synonyms for abandon, chasten. Choose. Synonyms: call, elect, pick, pick out, prefer, select. Prefer indicates a state of desire and approval. Choose an act or will. Prudence or generosity may lead one to choose what he does not prefer. Select implies a careful consideration of the reasons for preference and choice. Among objects so nearly alike that we have no reason to prefer any one to another, we may simply choose the nearest, but we could not be said to select it. Aside from theology, elect is popularly confined to the political sense, as a free people elect their own rules. Call, from the Latin colligere, commonly means to collect as well as to select. In a garden, we cull the choicest flowers. Antonyms: cast away, cast out, decline, disclaim, dismiss, leave, refuse, reject, repudiate, throw aside. Prepositions: choose from or from among the number. Choose out of the army. Choose between or betwixt two. Among many. Choose for the purpose. Circumlocution. Synonyms: diffuseness, periphrasis, pleonasm, prolixity, redundancy, surplusage, tautology, tediousness, verbiage, verbosity, wordiness. Circumlocution and periphrasis are roundabout ways of expressing thought. Circumlocution is the more common, periphrasis the more technical word. Constant circumlocution produces an affected and heavy style. Occasionally, skillful periphrasis conduces both to beauty and to simplicity. Etymologically, diffuseness is a scattering both of words and thought. Redundancy is an overflow. Prolixity goes into endless petty details, without selection or perspective. Pleonasm is the expression of an idea already plainly implied. Tautology is the restatement in other words of an idea already stated, or a useless repetition of a word or words. Pleonasm may add emphasis. Tautology is always a fault. I saw it with my eyes is a pleonasm. All the members agreed unanimously is tautology. Verbiage is the use of mere words without thought. Verbosity and wordiness denote an excess of words in proportion to the thought. Tediousness is the sure result of any of these faults of style. Antonyms: brevity, compactness, compression, conciseness, condensation, directness, plainness, shortness, succinctness, terseness. Circumstance. Synonyms: accompaniment, concomitant, detail, event, fact, feature, incident, item, occurrence, particular, point, position, situation. A circumstance, Latin circum, around, and sto, stand, is something existing or occurring in connection with or relation to some other fact or event, modifying or throwing light upon the principal matter without affecting its essential character. An accompaniment is something that unites with the principal matter, though not necessary to it, as the piano accompaniment to a song. A concomitant goes with a thing in natural connection, but in a subordinate capacity, or perhaps in contrast, as cheerfulness is a concomitant of virtue. A circumstance is not strictly nor usually an occasion, condition, effect, or result. See these words under cause. Nor is the circumstance properly an incident. See under accident. We say, my decision will depend upon circumstances, not upon incidents. That a man wore a blue necktie would not probably be the cause, occasion, condition, or concomitant of his committing murder, but it may be a very important circumstance to identifying him as the murderer. All the circumstances make up this situation. A certain disease is the cause of a man's death. His suffering is an incident. That he is his own home, that he has good medical attendance, careful nursing, etc., are consolatory circumstances. With the same idea of subordination, we often say, this is not a circumstance to that. So a person is said to be in easy circumstances. Compare event. Prepositions. Mere situation is expressed by in the circumstances. Action affected is performed under the circumstances. Class. Synonyms. Association, caste, circle, clan, clique, club, company, coterie, grade, order, rank, set. A class is a number or body of persons or objects having common pursuits, purposes, attributes, or characteristics. A caste is hereditary. A class may be independent of lineage or descent. Membership in a caste is supposed to be for life. Membership in a class may be very transient. A religious and ceremonial sacredness attaches to the caste, as not to the class. The rich and the poor form separate classes, yet individuals are constantly passing from each to the other. The classes in a college remain the same, but their membership changes every year. We speak of rank among hereditary nobility or military offices, of various orders of the priesthood. By accommodation, we may refer in a general way to the higher ranks, the lower orders of any society. Grade implies some regular scale or valuation, and some inherent qualities for which a person or thing is placed higher or lower in the scale, as the coarser and finer grades of wool, a man of an inferior grade. A coterie is a small company of persons of similar tastes, who meet frequently in an informal way, rather for social enjoyment than for a serious purpose. Clique has always an unfavorable meaning. A clique is always fractional, implying some greater gathering of which it is a part. The association breaks up into cliques. Persons unite in a coterie through simple liking for one another. They withdraw into a clique largely through aversion to outsiders. A set, while exclusive, is more extensive than a clique, and chiefly of persons who are united by common social station, etc. Circle is similar in meaning to set, but of wider application. We speak of scientific and religious, as well as of social circles. Prepositions. A class of merchants. The senior class at, sometimes of Harvard. The classes in college. Cleanse. Synonyms. Brush, clean, disinfect, dust, lave, mop, purify, rinse, scour, scrub, sponge, sweep, wash, wipe. To clean is to make clean by removing dirt, impurities, or soil of any kind. Cleanse implies a worse condition to start from and more to do than clean. Hercules cleansed the Augean stables. Cleanse is especially applied to purifying processes where liquid is used, as in the flushing of a street, etc. We brush clothing if dusty, sponge it or sponge it off if soiled, or sponge off a spot. Furniture, books, etc. are dusted. Floors are mopped or scrubbed. Metallic utensils are scoured. A room is swept. Soiled garments are washed. Foul air or water is purified. Cleanse and purify are used extensively in a moral sense. Wash in that sense is archaic. Compare, amend. Antonyms: befoul, besmear, besmirch, bespatter, contaminate, corrupt, debase, defile, deprave, pollute, soil, spoil, stain, sully, taint, vitiate. Prepositions: cleanse of or from physical or moral defilement. Cleanse with an instrument, by an agent. The room was cleansed by the attendants with soap and water. Clear. Synonyms: apparent, diaphanous, distinct, evident, explicit, intelligible, limpid, lucid, manifest, obvious, pellucid, perspicuous, plain, straightforward, translucent, transparent, unadorned, unambiguous, unequivocal, unmistakable. Clear, Latin clarus, bright, brilliant, primarily refers to that which shines and impresses the mind through the eye with a sense of luster or splendor. A substance is said to be clear that offers no impediment to vision, is not dim, dark, or obscure. Transparent refers to the medium through which a substance is seen, clear to the surface itself, without reference to anything to be seen through it. We speak of a stream as clear when we think of the water itself. We speak of it as transparent with reference to the ease with which we see the pebbles at the bottom. Clear is also said of that which comes to the senses without dimness, dullness, obstruction, or obscurity, and so that there is no uncertainty as to its exact form, character, or meaning, with something of the brightness or brilliancy implied in the primary meaning of the word clear, as the outlines of the ship were clear against the sky, a clear view, a clear note, clear as a bell, a clear frosty air, a clear sky, a clear statement. Hence the word is used for that which is free from any kind of obstruction, as a clear field. Lucid and pellucid refer to a shining clearness, as of crystal. A transparent body allows the forms and colors of objects beyond to be seen through it. A translucent body allows light to pass through, but may not permit forms and colors to be distinguished. Plate glass is transparent, ground glass is translucent. Limpid refers to a liquid clearness, or that which suggests it, as limpid streams. That which is distinct is well defined, especially in outline, each part or object standing or seeming apart from any other, not confused, indefinite, or blurred. Distinct enunciation enables the hearer to catch every word or vocal sound without perplexity or confusion. A distinct statement is free from indefiniteness or ambiguity. A distinct apprehension of a thought leaves the mind in no doubt or uncertainty regarding it. That is plain in the sense here considered, which is, as it were, level to the thought, so that one goes straight on without difficulty or hindrance, as plain language, a plain statement, a clear explanation. Perspicuous is often equivalent to plain, but plain never wholly loses the meaning of unadorned, so that we can say the style is perspicuous, though highly ornate, when we could not call it at once ornate and plain. Compare evident. Antonyms: ambiguous, cloudy, dim, dubious, foggy, indistinct, mysterious, obscure, opaque, turbid, unintelligible, vague. Prepositions: clear to the mind, clear in argument, clear of or from annoyances. End of section 17. Section 18 of English Synonyms and Antonyms. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mario Pineda. English Synonyms and Antonyms by James Champlin Fernald. Clever to congratulate. Clever. Synonyms: able, adroit, apt, bright, capable, dexterous, expert, gifted, happy, ingenious, intellectual, intelligent, keen, knowing, quick, quick-witted, sharp, skillful, smart, talented. Clever, as used in England, especially implies an aptitude for study of learning, and for excellent, though not preeminent mental achievement. The early New England usage as implying simple and weak good nature has largely affected the use of the word throughout the United States, where it has never been much in favor. Smart, indicating dashing ability, is now coming to have a suggestion of unscrupulousness similar to that of the word sharp, which makes its use a doubtful compliment. The discriminating use of such words as able, gifted, talented, etc. is greatly preferable to an excessive use of the word clever. Compare acumen, astute, power. Antonyms: awkward, bungling, clumsy, dull, foolish, idiotic, ignorant, senseless, slow, stupid, thick-headed, witless. Collision. Synonyms: clash, clashing, concussion, conflict, contact, encounter, impact, meeting, opposition, shock. Collision, the act or fact of striking violently together, is the result of motion or action, and is sudden and momentary. Contact might be a condition of rest, and be continuous and permanent. Collision is sudden and violent contact. Concussion is often by transmitted force rather than by direct impact. Two railway trains come into collision. An explosion of dynamite shatters neighboring windows by concussion. Impact is the blow given by the striking body, as the impact of the cannon shot upon target. An encounter is always violent and generally hostile. Meeting is neutral, and may be of the dearest friends or of the bitterest foes, of objects, of persons, or of opinions, of two or of a multitude. Shock is a result of collision. In the figurative use, we speak of clashing of views, collision of persons, Opposition is used chiefly of persons, more rarely of opinions or interests. Conflict is used indifferently of all. Antonyms: agreement, amity, coincidence, concert, concord, concurrence, conformity, harmony, unison, unity. Prepositions: collision of one object with another, of or between opposing objects. Comfortable. Synonyms: agreeable, at ease, at rest, cheerful, cheery, commodious, contented, convenient, genial, pleasant, satisfactory, satisfied, snug, well off, well provided, well to do. A person is comfortable in mind when contented and measurably satisfied. A little additional brightness makes him cheerful. He is comfortable in body when free from pain, quiet, at ease, at rest. He is comfortable in circumstances or in comfortable circumstances, when things about him are generally agreeable and satisfactory, usually with the suggestion of sufficient means to secure that result. Antonyms: cheerless, disagreeable, discontented, dissatisfied, distressed, dreary, forlorn, miserable, uncomfortable, wretched. Commit. Synonyms: assign, confide, consign, entrust, relegate, trust. Commit, in the sense here considered, is to give in charge, put into care or keeping; to confide or entrust is to commit especially to one's fidelity, confide being used chiefly of mental or spiritual, entrust also of material things. We assign a duty, confide a secret, entrust a treasure. We commit thoughts to writing, commit a paper to the flames, a body to the earth. A prisoner is committed to jail. Consign is a formal word in mercantile use, as to consign goods to an agent. Religiously, we consign the body to the grave, commit the soul to God. Compare do. Prepositions: commit to a friend, for safekeeping; in law, commit to prison, for trial, without bail, in default of bail, on suspicion. Company. Synonyms: assemblage, assembly, collection, conclave, concurse, conference, congregation, convention, convocation, crowd, gathering, group, host, meeting, multitude, throng. Company, from the Latin com, with, and panis, bread, denotes primarily the association of those who eat at a common table, or the persons so associated. Table companions, messmates, friends, and hence is widely extended to include any association of those united permanently or temporarily for business, pleasure, festivity, trouble, etc., or by sorrow, misfortune, or wrong. Company may denote an indefinite number, ordinarily more than two, but less than a multitude. In the military sense, a company is a limited and definite number of men. Company implies more unity of feeling and purpose than crowd, and is a less formal and more familiar word than assemblage or assembly. An assemblage may be of persons or of objects. An assembly is always of persons. An assemblage is promiscuous and unorganized. An assembly is organized and united in some common purpose. A conclave is a secret assembly. A convocation is an assembly called by authority for a special purpose. The term convention suggests less dependence upon any superior authority or summons. A group is small in number and distinct in outline, clearly marked off from all else in space or time. Collection, crowd, gathering, group, and multitude have the unorganized and promiscuous character of the assemblage. The other terms come under the general idea of assembly. Congregation is now almost exclusively religious. Meeting is often so used, but is less restricted, as we may speak of a meeting of armed men. Gathering refers to a coming together, commonly of numbers, from far and near, as the gathering of the Scottish clans. Antonyms: dispersion, loneliness, privacy, retirement, seclusion, solitude. Compel. Synonyms: coerce, constrain, drive, force, make, necessitate, oblige. To compel one to an act is to secure its performance by the use of irresistible physical or moral force. Force implies primarily an actual physical process, absolutely subduing all resistance. Coerce implies the actual or potential use of so much force as may be necessary to secure the surrender of the will. The American secessionists contended that the federal government had no right to coerce a state. Constraint implies the yielding of judgment and will, and in some cases of inclination or affection, to an overmastering power, as the love of Christ constraineth us. 2 Corinthians b:14. Compare drive, influence. Antonyms: see synonyms for hinder. Prepositions: the soldiers were compelled to desertion, preferably with the infinitive compelled to desert. Complain. Synonyms: croak, find fault, growl, grumble, grunt, murmur, remonstrate, repine. To complain is to give utterance to dissatisfaction or objection, express a sense of wrong or ill treatment. One complains of a real or assumed grievance. He may murmur through mere peevishness or ill temper. He repines with vain distress at the irrevocable or the inevitable. Complaining is by speech or writing. Murmuring is commonly said of half-repressed utterance, repining of the mental act alone. One may complain of an offense to the offender or to others. He remonstrates with the offender only. Complaint has a formal and legal meaning, which the other words have not, signifying to make a formal accusation, present a specific charge. The same is true of the noun complaint. Antonyms: applaud, approve, commend, eulogize, laud, praise. Prepositions: complain of a thing to a person, of one person to another, of or against a person for an act, to an officer, before the court, about a thing. Complex. Synonyms: abstruse, complicated, composite, compound, confused, conglomerate, entangled, heterogeneous, intricate, involved, manifold, mingled, mixed, multiform, obscure, tangled. That is complex which is made up of several connected parts. That is compound in which the parts are not merely connected but fused or otherwise combined into a single substance. In a composite object the different parts have less of unity than in that which is complex or compound, but maintain their distinct individuality. In a heterogeneous body, unlike parts or particles are intermingled, often without apparent order or plan. Conglomerate, literally globbed together, is said of a confused mingling of masses or lumps of various substances. The New England pudding stone is a conglomerate rock. In a complex object, the arrangement and relation of parts may be perfectly clear. In a complicated mechanism, the parts are so numerous or so combined that the mind cannot readily grasp their mutual relations. In an intricate arrangement, the parts are so intertwined that it is difficult to follow their windings. Things are involved which are rolled together so as not to be easily separated, either in thought or in fact. Things which are tangled or entangled mutually hold and draw upon each other. The conception of a material object is usually complex, involving form, color, size, and other elements. A clock is a complicated mechanism. The Gordian knot was intricate. The twining serpents of the Laocoon are involved. We speak of an abstruse statement, a complex conception, a confused heap, a heterogeneous mass, a tangled skein, an intricate problem, a composite architecture, an involved sentence, of the complicated or intricate accounts of a great business, the entangled accounts of an incompetent or dishonest bookkeeper. Antonyms: clear, direct, homogeneous, obvious, plain, simple, uncombined, uncompounded, uniform, unraveled. Condemn. Synonyms: blame, censure, convict, denounce, doom, reprobate, reprove, sentence. To condemn is to pass judicial sentence or render judgment or decision against. We may censure silently. We condemn ordinarily by open and formal utterance. Condemned is more final than blame or censure. A condemned criminal has had his trial. A condemned building cannot stand. A condemned ship cannot sail. A person is convicted when his guilt is made clearly manifest to others. In somewhat archaic use, a person is said to be convicted when guilt is brought clearly home to his own conscience. Convict in the sense being allied with convince, which see under persuade. In legal usage, one is said to be convicted only by the verdict of a jury. In stating the penalty of an offense, the legal word sentence is now more common than condemned, as he was sentenced to imprisonment. But it is good usage to say he was condemned to imprisonment. To denounce is to make public or official declaration against, especially in a violent and threatening manner. From the pulpits in the northern states, Burr was denounced as an assassin. Coffin Building the Nation, Chapter 10, page 137, h. 83. To doom is to condemn solemnly and consign to evil or destruction, or to predetermine to an evil destiny. An inferior race in presence of a superior is doomed to subjugation or extinction. Compare arraign, reprove. Antonyms: absolve, acquit, applaud, approve, exonerate, justify, pardon, praise. Prepositions: the bandit was condemned to death for his crime. Confess. Synonyms: accept, acknowledge, admit, allow, avow, certify, concede, disclose, endorse, grant, own, recognize. We accept another's statement, admit any point made against us, acknowledge what we have said or done, good or bad, avow our individual beliefs or feelings, certify to facts within our knowledge, confess our own faults, endorse a friend's note or statement, grant a request, own our faults or obligations, recognize lawful authority, concede a claim. Confess has a high and sacred use in the religious sense, as to confess Christ before men. It may have also a playful sense, often with to, as one confesses to a weakness for confectionery. The chief present use of the word, however, is in the sense of making known to others one's own wrongdoing. In this sense, confess is stronger than acknowledge or admit, and more specific than own. A person admits a mistake, acknowledges a fault, confesses sin or crime. Compare apology, avow. Antonyms: cloak, conceal, cover, deny, disavow, disguise, disown, dissemble, dissimulate, hide, mask, repudiate, screen, secrete, veil. Confirm. Synonyms: assure, corroborate, establish, fix, prove, ratify, sanction, settle, strengthen, substantiate, sustain, uphold. Confirm, Latin con, together, and firmus, firm, is to add firmness or give stability to. Both confirm and corroborate presuppose something already existing to which the confirmation or corroboration is added. Testimony is corroborated by concurrent testimony or by circumstances, confirmed by established facts. That which is thoroughly proved is said to be established. So is that which is official and has adequate power behind it, as the established government, the established church. The continents are fixed. A treaty is ratified. An appointment confirmed. An act is sanctioned by any person of authority that passes upon it approvingly. A statement is substantiated. A report confirmed. A controversy settled. The decision of a lower court sustained by a higher. Just government should be upheld. The beneficent results of Christianity confirm our faith in it as a divine revelation. Antonyms: abrogate, annul, cancel, destroy, overthrow, shake, shatter, unsettle, upset, weaken. Prepositions: confirm a statement by testimony, confirm a person in a belief. Congratulate. Synonym: felicitate. To felicitate is to pronounce one happy or wish one joy. To congratulate is to express hearty sympathy in his joys or hopes. Felicitate is cold and formal. We say one felicitates himself, though to congratulate oneself, which is less natural, is becoming prevalent. Antonyms: condole with, console. Prepositions: congratulate one on or upon his success. End of section 18. English Synonyms and Antonyms. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mario Pineda. English Synonyms and Antonyms by James Champlin Fernald. Conquer to criminal. Conquer. Synonyms: beat, checkmate, crush, defeat, discomfit, down, humble, master, overcome, overmaster, overmatch, overpower, overthrow, prevail over, put down, reduce, rout, subdue, subject, subjugate, surmount, vanquish, win, worst. To defeat an enemy is to gain an advantage for the time. To vanquish is to win a signal victory. To conquer is to overcome so effectually that the victory is regarded as final. Conquer, in many cases, carries the idea of possession, as to conquer respect, affection, peace, etc. A country is conquered when its armies are defeated and its territory is occupied by the enemy. It may be subjected to indemnity or to various disabilities. It is subjugated when it is held helplessly and continuously under military control. It is subdued when all resistance has died out. An army is defeated when forcibly driven back. It is routed when it is converted into a mob of fugitives. Compare beat. Antonyms: capitulate, cede, fail, fall, fly, forfeit, lose, resign, retire, retreat, submit, succumb, surrender, yield. Conscious. Synonyms: advised, apprised, assured, aware, certain, certified, cognizant, informed, sensible, sure. One is aware of that which exists without him. He is conscious of the inner workings of his own mind. Sensible may be used in the exact sense of conscious, or it may partake of both the senses mentioned above. One may be sensible of his own or another's error. He is conscious only of his own. A person may feel assured or sure of something false or non-existent. What he is aware of, still more what he is conscious of, must be fact. Sensible has often a reference to the emotions, where conscious may apply only to the intellect. To say a culprit is sensible of his degradation is more forcible than to say he is conscious of it. Antonyms: cold, dead, deaf, ignorant, insensible, unaware, unconscious. Preposition: on the stormy sea, man is conscious of the limitation of human power. Consequence. Synonyms: consequent, effect, end, event, issue, outcome, outgrowth, result, sequel, upshot. Effect is the strongest of these words. It is that which is directly pronounced by the action of an efficient cause. We say every effect must have an adequate cause. Compare cause. In regard to human actions, effect commonly relates to intention, as the shot took effect, that is, the effect intended. A consequence is that which follows an act naturally, but less directly than the effect. The motion of the piston is the effect, and the agitation of the water under the paddle wheels a consequence of the expansion of steam in the cylinder. The result is literally the rebound of an act, depending on many elements. The issue is that which flows forth directly. We say the issue of a battle, the result of a campaign. A consequent commonly is that which follows simply in order of time, or by logical inference. The end is the actual outcome without determination of the relation to what has gone before. It is ordinarily viewed as either the necessary, natural, or logical outcome, any effect, consequence, or result being termed an end, as the end of such a course must be ruin. The event, Latin e, out, and venue, come, is primarily exactly the same in meaning as outcome, but in use it is more nearly equivalent to upshot, signifying the sum and the substance of all effects, consequences, and results of a course of action. Compare accident, cause, circumstance, end, event. Console. Synonyms: comfort, condole with, encourage, sympathize with. One condoles with another by the expression of kindly sympathy in his trouble. He consoles him by considerations adapted to soothe and sustain the spirit, as by the assurances and promises of the gospel. He encourages him by the hope of some relief or deliverance. He comforts him by whatever act or word tends to bring mind or body to a state of rest and cheer. We sympathize with others, not only in sorrow, but in joy. Compare alleviate, pity. Antonyms: annoy, distress, disturb, grieve, hurt, sadden, trouble, wound. Contagion. Synonym: infection. Infection is frequently confused with contagion, even by medical men. The best usage now limits contagion to diseases that are transmitted by contact with the diseased person, either directly by touch or indirectly by use of the same articles, by breath, effluvia, etc. Infection is applied to diseases produced by no known or definable influence of one person upon another, but where common climatic, malarious, or other widespread conditions are believed to be chiefly instrumental. Continual. Synonyms: ceaseless, constant, continuous, incessant, invariable, perpetual, regular, unbroken, unceasing, uninterrupted, unremitting, unvarying. Continuous describes that which is absolutely without pause or break. Continual, that which often intermits but as regularly begins again. A continuous beach is exposed to the continual beating of the waves. A similar distinction is made between incessant and ceaseless. The incessant discharge of firearms makes the ceaseless roar of battle. Constant is sometimes used in the sense of continual, but its chief uses are mental and moral. Contract. Synonyms: agreement, arrangement, bargain, cartel, compact, covenant, engagement, obligation, pact, pledge, promise, stipulation. All these words involve at least two parties, though an engagement or promise may be the act of but one. A contract is a formal agreement between two or more parties for the doing or leaving undone some specified act or acts, and is ordinarily in writing. Mutual promises may have the force of a contract. A consideration or compensation is essential to convert an agreement into a contract. A contract may be oral or written. A covenant in law is a written contract under seal. Covenant is frequent in religious usage, as contract is in law and business. Compact is essentially the same as contract, but it is applied to international agreements, treaties, etc. A bargain is a mutual agreement for an exchange of values without the formality of a contract. A stipulation is a single item in an agreement or contract. A cartel is a military agreement for the exchange of prisoners or the like. Contrast. Synonyms: compare, differentiate, discriminate, oppose. To compare, Latin con, together, and par, equal, is to place together in order to show likeness or unlikeness. To contrast, Latin contra, against, and sto, stand, is to set in opposition in order to show unlikeness. We contrast objects that have been already compared. We must compare them, at least momentarily, even to know that they are different. We contrast them when we observe their unlikeness in a general way. We differentiate them when we know the difference exactly and point by point. We distinguish objects when we know the difference that may fall short of contrast. We discriminate them when we classify or place them according to their differences. Preposition: we contrast one object with another. Conversation. Synonyms: chat, colloquy, communication, communion, confabulation, conference, converse, dialogue, discourse, intercourse, parley, talk. Conversation. Latin con, with, is etymologically an interchange of ideas with some other person or persons. Talk may be wholly one-sided. Many brilliant talkers have been incapable of conversation. There might be intercourse without conversation, as by looks, signs, etc. Communion is of hearts, with or without words. Communication is often by writing, and may be uninvited and unreciprocated. Talk may denote the mere utterance of words with little thought. Those who say idle talk, empty talk, rather than idle or empty conversation. Discourse is now applied chiefly to public addresses. A conference is more formal than a conversation. Dialogue denotes ordinarily an artificial or imaginary conversation, generally of two persons, but sometimes of more. A colloquy is indefinite as to number and generally somewhat informal. Compare behavior. Prepositions: conversation with friends, between or among the guests, about a matter. Convert. Synonyms: disciple, neophyte, proselyte. The name disciple is given to the follower of a certain faith without reference to any previous belief or allegiance. A convert is a person who has to come to one faith from a different belief or from unbelief. A proselyte is one who has been led to accept a religious system, whether with or without true faith. A convert is always understood to be a believer. A neophyte is a new convert, not yet fully indoctrinated or not admitted to full privileges. The antonyms apostate, pervert, and renegade are condemnatory names applied to the convert by those whose faith he forsakes. Convey. Synonyms: carry, change, give, move, remove, sell, shift, transfer, transmit, transport. Convey, transmit, and transport all imply delivery at a destination, as I will convey the information to your friend. Air conveys sound to a listener. Carry does not necessarily imply delivery and often does not admit of it. A man carries an appearance, conveys an impression, the appearance remaining his own, the impression being given to another. I will transmit the letter, transport the goods. A horse carries his mane and tail, but does not convey them. Transfer may or may not imply delivery to another person, as items may be transferred from one account to another, or a word transferred to the following line. In law, real estate, which cannot be moved, is conveyed by simply transferring title and possession. Transport usually refers to material. Transfer, transmit, and convey may refer to immaterial objects. We transfer possession, transmit intelligence, convey ideas, but do not transport them. In the case of convey, the figurative sense now predominates. Compare, carry. Antonyms: cling to, hold, keep, possess, preserve, retain. Prepositions: convey to a friend, a purchaser, etc. Convey from the house to the station. Convey by express, by hand, etc. Convoke. Synonyms: assemble, call, call together, collect, convene, gather, muster, summon. A convention is called by some officer or officers, as by its president, its executive committee, or some eminent leaders. The delegates are assembled or convened in a certain place at a certain hour. Convoke implies an organized body and a superior authority. Assemble and convene express more independent action. Parliament is convoked. Congress assembles. Troops are mustered. witnesses and jurymen are summoned. Antonyms: adjourn, break up, disband, discharge, dismiss, disperse, dissolve, prorogue, scatter, separate. Criminal. Synonyms: abominable, culpable, felonious, flagitious, guilty, illegal, immoral, iniquitous, nefarious, sinful, unlawful, vicious, vile, wicked, wrong. Every criminal act is illegal or unlawful, but illegal or unlawful acts may not be criminal. Offenses against public law are criminal. Offenses against private rights are merely illegal or unlawful. As a general rule, all acts punishable by fine or imprisonment or both are criminal in view of the law. It is illegal for a man to trespass on another's land, but it is not criminal. The trespasser is liable to a civil suit for damages, but not to indictment, fine, or imprisonment. A felonious act is a criminal act of an aggravated kind, which is punishable by imprisonment in the penitentiary or by death. A flagitious crime is one that brings public odium. Vicious refers to the indulgence of evil appetites, habits, or passions. Vicious acts are not necessarily criminal, or even illegal. We speak of a vicious horse. That which is iniquitous, that is, contrary to equity, may sometimes be done under the forms of law. Ingratitude is sinful, hypocrisy is wicked, but neither is punishable by human law. Hence, neither is criminal or illegal. Compare sin. Antonyms: innocent, just, lawful, legal, meritorious, moral, right, virtuous. End of section 19.
Of English synonyms and antonyms. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. English Synonyms and Antonyms by James Champlin Fernald. Daily to delicious. Daily. Synonym: diurnal. Daily is the Saxon and popular, diurnal the Latin and scientific term. In strict usage, daily is the antonym of nightly, as diurnal is of nocturnal. Daily is not, however, held strictly to this use. A physician makes daily visits if he calls at some time within each period of 24 hours. Diurnal is more exact in all of its uses. A diurnal flower opens or blooms only in daylight. A diurnal bird or animal flies or ranges only by day, in contradistinction to nocturnal flowers, birds, etc. A diurnal motion exactly fills an astronomical day, or the time of one rotation of a planet on its axis, while a daily motion is much less definite. Antonyms: nightly, nocturnal. Danger. Synonyms: hazard, insecurity, jeopardy, peril, risk. Danger is exposure to possible evil, which may be either near and probable or remote and doubtful. Peril is exposure to imminent and sharply threatening evil, especially to such as results from violence. An invalid may be in danger of consumption. A disarmed soldier is in peril of death. Jeopardy is nearly the same as peril, but involves, like risk, more of the element of chance or uncertainty. A man tried upon a capital charge is said to be put in jeopardy of life. Insecurity is a feeble word, but exceedingly broad, applying to the placing of a dish, or the possibilities of a life, a fortune, or a government. Compare hazard. Antonyms: defense, immunity, protection, safeguard, safety, security, shelter. Dark. Synonyms: black, dim, dismal, dusky, gloomy, murky, mysterious, obscure, opaque, sable, shadowy, shady, somber, swart, swarthy. Strictly, that which is black is absolutely destitute of color. That which is dark is absolutely destitute of light. In common speech, however, a coat is black, though not optically colorless. The night is dark, though the stars shine. That is obscure, shadowy, or shady, from which the light is more or less cut off. Dusky is applied to objects which appear as if viewed in fading light. The word is often used, as are swart and swarthy, of the human skin when quite dark, or even verging toward black. Dim refers to imperfection of outline, from distance, darkness, mist, etc., or from some defect of vision. Opaque objects, as smoked glass, are impervious to light. Murky is said of that which is at once dark, obscure, and gloomy, as a murky den, a murky sky. Figuratively, dark is emblematic of sadness, agreeing with somber, dismal, gloomy, also of moral evil, as a dark deed. Of intellectual matters, dark is now rarely used in the old sense of a dark saying, etc. See mysterious, obscure. Antonyms: bright, brilliant, clear, crystalline, dazzling, gleaming, glowing, illumined, light, lucid, luminous, radiant, shining, transparent, white. Decay. Synonyms: corrupt, decompose, molder, putrefy, rot, spoil. Rot is a strong word, ordinarily esteemed coarse, but on occasion capable of approved emphatic use, as the name of the wicked shall rot. Proverbs 10:7. Decay and decompose are now common euphemisms. A substance is decomposed when resolved into its original elements by any process. It is decayed when resolved into its original elements by natural processes. It decays gradually, but may be instantly decomposed, as water into oxygen and hydrogen. To say that a thing is decayed may denote only a partial result, but to say it is decomposed ordinarily implies that the change is complete, or nearly so. Putrefy and the adjectives putrid and putrescent, and the nouns putridity and putrescence are used almost exclusively of animal matter in a state of decomposition, the more general word decay being used of either animal or vegetable substances. Deception. Synonyms: craft, cunning, deceit, deceitfulness, delusion, dissimulation, double dealing, duplicity, fabrication, falsehood, finesse, fraud, guile, hypocrisy, imposition, lie, lying, prevarication, trickery, untruth. Deceit is the habit, deception the act. Guile applies to the disposition out of which deceit and deception grow, and also to their actual practice. A lie, lying or falsehood, is the uttering of what one knows to be false with intent to deceive. The novel or drama is not a lie because not meant to deceive. The ancient teaching that the earth was flat was not a lie because not then known to be false. Untruth is more than lack of accuracy, implying always lack of veracity, but it is a somewhat milder and more dignified word than lie. Falsehood and lying are in utterance. Deceit and deception may be merely in act or implication. Deception may be innocent and even unintentional, as in the case of an optical illusion. Deceit always involves injurious intent. Craft and cunning have not necessarily any moral quality. They are common traits of animals, but stand rather low in the human scale. Duplicity is the habitual speaking or acting with intent to appear to mean what one does not. Dissimulation is rather a concealing of what is than a pretense of what is not. Finesse is simply an adroit and deliberate management of a matter for one's own side, not necessarily involving deceit. Compare artifice, fiction, fraud, hypocrisy. Antonyms: candor, fair dealing, frankness, guilelessness, honesty, openness, simplicity, sincerity, truth, veracity. Defense. Synonyms: apology, bulwark, fortress, guard, justification, protection, rampart, resistance, safeguard, shelter, shield, vindication. The weak may speak or act in defense of the strong. None but the powerful can assure others of protection. A defense is ordinarily against actual attack. Protection is against possible as well as actual dangers. We speak of defense against an assault, protection from the cold. Vindication is a triumphant defense of character and conduct against charges of error or wrong. Compare apology. Antonyms: abandonment, betrayal, capitulation, desertion, flight, surrender. Prepositions: defense against assault or assailants. In law, defense to an action, from the testimony. Defile. Synonyms: befoul, contaminate, corrupt, infect, pollute, soil, spoil, stain, sully, taint, tarnish, vitiate. The hand may be defiled by a touch of pitch. Swine that have been wallowing in the mud are befouled. Contaminate and infect refer to something evil that deeply pervades and permeates, as the human body or mind. Pollute is used chiefly of liquids, as water polluted with sewage. Tainted meat is repulsive. Infected meat contains germs of disease. A soiled garment may be cleansed by washing. A spoiled garment is beyond cleansing or repair. Bright metal is tarnished by exposure. A fair sheet is sullied by a dirty hand. In figurative use, defile may be used merely in the ceremonial sense. They themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled. John 18:28. Contaminate refers to deep spiritual injury. Pollute has also a reference to sacrilege, as to pollute a sanctuary, an altar, or an ordinance. The innocent are often contaminated by association with the wicked. The vicious are more and more corrupted by their own excesses. We speak of a vitiated taste or style. Fraud vitiates a title or a contract. Antonyms: clean, cleanse, disinfect, hallow, purify, sanctify, wash. Prepositions: the temple was defiled with blood. Defiled by sacrilegious deeds. Definition. Synonyms: comment, commentary, description, explanation, exposition, interpretation, rendering, translation. A definition is exact, an explanation general. A definition is formal, a description pictorial. A definition must include all that belongs to the object defined, and exclude all that does not. A description may include only some general features. An explanation may simply throw light upon some point of special difficulty. An exposition undertakes to state more fully what is compactly given or only implied in the text, as an exposition of Scripture. Interpretation is ordinarily from one language into another, or from the language of one period into that of another. It may also be a statement giving the doubtful or hidden meaning of that which is recondite or perplexing, as the interpretation of a dream, a riddle, or of some difficult passage. Definition, explanation, exposition, and interpretation are ordinarily blended in a commentary, which may also include description. A comment is upon a single passage. A commentary may be the same, but is usually understood to be a volume of comments. Delegate. Synonyms: deputy, legate, proxy, representative, substitute. These words agree in designating one who acts in the place of some other or others. The legate is an ecclesiastical officer representing the Pope. In strict usage, the deputy or delegate is more limited in functions and more closely bound by instructions than a representative. A single officer may have a deputy. Many persons combine to choose a delegate or representative. In the United States, informal assemblies send delegates to nominating conventions with no legislative authority. Representatives are legally elected to Congress and the various legislatures with law-making power. Deliberate. Synonyms: confer, consider, consult, debate, meditate, ponder, reflect, weigh. An individual considers, meditates, ponders, reflects by himself. He weighs a matter in his own mind, and is sometimes said even to debate with himself. Consult and confer always imply two or more persons, as does debate. unless expressly limited as above. Confer suggests the interchange of counsel, advice, or information. Consult indicates almost exclusively the receiving of it. A man confers with his associates about a new investment. He consults his physician about his health. He may confer with him on matters of general interest. He consults a dictionary, but does not confer with it. Deliberate, which can be applied to a single individual, is also the word for a great number, while consult is ordinarily limited to a few. A committee consults, an assembly deliberates. Deliberating always carries the idea of slowness. Consulting is compatible with haste. We can speak of a hasty consultation, not of a hasty deliberation. Debate implies opposing views. Deliberate simply a gathering and balancing of all facts and reasons. We consider or deliberate with a view to action, while meditation may be quite purposeless. Prepositions. We deliberate on or upon, also about or concerning a matter. The first two are preferable. Delicious. Synonyms: dainty, delightful, exquisite, luscious, savory. That is delicious which affords a gratification at once vivid and delicate to the senses, especially to those of taste and smell, as delicious fruit, a delicious odor. Luscious has a kindred but more fulsome meaning, inclining toward a cloying excess of sweetness or richness. Savory is applied chiefly to cooked food, made palatable by spices and condiments. Delightful may be applied to the higher gratifications of sense, as delightful music, but is chiefly used for that which is mental and spiritual. Delicious has a limited use in this way, as a delicious bit of poetry. The word is sometimes used ironically for some pleasing absurdity, as "this is delicious." Compare delightful. Antonyms: acrid, bitter, loathsome, nauseous, repulsive, unpalatable, unsavory. End of section 20. Read by DSayers in Modesto, California, for LibriVox.